Can you
There
see me
we
now?
go. There we go. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes, and you do have beautiful weather out there.
Yeah, it's the weather is nice.
So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. But can you tell everybody your name and your vineyard, what you do, and a little bit about Beckstoffer?
Well, I'm Andy Beckstoffer. I'm standing here in the Dr. Crane Vineyard, and we are farmers. We grow grapes and we sell them to winery. We don't have a winery, but we have vineyards here in Napa Valley, and in Lake and Mendocino County, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary of doing this year.
And how does that work with, I'm used to working with people that make wine because they come to New York to the restaurants and we meet them. And I'm not so used to working with people like you. How does that work? Is it contract year after year, and do they come and visit, or what's the relationship you have with wineries?
Well, Jeff, probably more than 50% of the grapes grown in the Napa Valley are grown by people who don't make wine.
Oh, okay.
All right. And so that we contract with various wineries, over hundreds of them, and we contract on a basis of either 1 year or 5 years, sometimes 10 years. So that's what we're doing right now, is contracting with people. But we contract to deliver grapes, and we deliver them FOB the winery. In other words, we do all the farming, we do all the labor, everything like that. We do communicate with the wineries, but basically we don't tell them how to make wine. They don't tell us how to make grapes. But we do communicate, and that's a very important part of it, especially with the vineyard designate wines. And those wines come from one or more of our heritage vineyards. And
Okay.
heritage vineyards are vineyards that were planted in the 19th century here in the Napa Valley, and they've pretty much been in vines ever since that. This place where I am now in Dr. Crane was planted by Dr. George Belden Crane in 1858.
Wow.
Except for a small time in the 1930s when it was Chinatown, it's been in vineyards, and has in all those times produced some of the best black grapes, not necessarily Cabernet, over the years.
Wow. That's quite a history. And how big is Beckstoffer Vineyards? How many acres or hectares under vine?
Well, we have lots of vineyards. We have 12 vineyards here in Napa Valley, and they're various sizes, anywhere from 5 acres to 20 and 200 acres.
Oh, wow. Okay. And have you done this your whole life?
No, I have not. We
Can you tell how you got in? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we started this farming company in 1970. I was not a farmer prior to that, and since then it's been my whole life.
And what does that entail day to day? What you do as a farmer when you get up and go to work? What does that mean?
Well, for me, we run a fair-sized company here, and I'm not a viticulturist. I sort of do the business part of it and have the vision and decide where we're going to go and sort of how we want to go there. But the farmers get up every morning about 6 o'clock and they start to farm. And depending upon the season, they do different things. Like right now, we're worried about frost. We're beginning to fight frost. We're planting vineyards today somewhere in the Napa Valley. We're also suckering. We're also tying vines. We're also planting new vineyards. So we do different things, different times all through the year.
And how is
Jeff?
Sorry?
It's a business. It's a big business, and it's very technically oriented business. And for someone like me that's not, educated in viticulture, I think I understand what's going on, but you need to leave it to the professional viticulturists.
I like that. A lot of people forget about that. There's the romance of the wine, but there's also somebody who's doing the business, keeping the business afloat, and that's really you.
And what happens is that if you go way back to the 1970s when we got here, lots of the people who own vineyards were good farmers.
Mm-hmm.
They were poor businessmen. And so they don't own the land anymore. They're still good farmers. But when we were trying to get them to do long-range planting or to plant Cabernet Sauvignon or introduce some of the new techniques, they didn't do it. And that was a shame, basically. But because they were good farmers and not good businessmen, they didn't consider the business part of it. So you need to do both.
Yeah, for sure. Betsy was asking if you could show us the Dr. Crane Vineyard. If you look on the top left of your screen, there should be two arrows in a circle. If you push that, it's going to turn the camera so you can see through it to show us, or you can just turn your phone around.
Okay, I think, why don't I just turn my phone around, because if I punch the wrong thing, I've lost it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I got it.
Turn the phone around.
Oh, beautiful.
You can see the Dr. Crane Vineyard. And Dr. Crane is about 20 acres, actually located in the city of St. Helena. And you can see what's coming on your view now is the elementary school in the city of St. Helena, which was great vineyard ground, but they took it for an elementary school. And if you can look all around, and then I'll show you what's going on in the vineyards. And you can see the vines now are just beginning to come out. They're beginning to leaf. And this varies, but this is the situation where if we have a deep frost, it will fry these little guys and we'll lose a crop. But that's where we are right now in the vineyards.
So what do you do? Like in France, they put out they call the candles, the little fires, or they put hay in between and light fires. Do you do anything like that?
No, we're much more environmentally sensitive to that. In 1970s, we would burn those pots, but we don't do that anymore. We either do it with water, which is the most case if you have water, or we do it with wind machines.
Oh.
But we don't, burning straw in pots, we don't think that's very environmentally sensitive.
Yeah. And then is it an issue of whether there's clear skies the next day is the bad thing too?
Well, yeah, but the frost, when we call that for frost, it's generally about 2 a.m. in the morning.
I see. And it's actually just the buds freezing. It's not when the sun comes up the following day that's your damage.
No. And, well, what happens sometimes just before it gets coldest, just before it gets light.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning when the light begins to come.
Right.
Yeah. But that varies place to place.
This is a very basic question, and everybody here is fairly sophisticated in the wine world. But can you tell me why Napa and Cabernet go so well together? That what has made I know it's the land, but why is Cabernet so successful in Napa, and what's special about it?
Well, it's the land, and it's the climate, and it's the way people think about it. I mean, I think when you talk about terroir, people talk about that being the sum of all the physical aspects of a place, where the total is more than the sum of the parts. But to bring that out, you've got to have a farmer involved. Mm-hmm. So it's not only the idea that we have the ground and we have the climate, but we also have the people and the technology and the desire and the passion to make all that happen. So you could have this place without the people and the passion, and you'd never know about it.
Oh, for sure. And then, were you affected in the earthquakes a couple years ago?
Earthquake? No, we were affected by the fires, it seems like every year. But the earthquake, well, in 2014, the earthquake, I was affected because I own a building in the city of Napa, an old building that was built prior to 1906. And so, yes, we were severely affected in that building, but not in the vineyards.
Okay, because I had heard that a bunch of springs popped up after the hurricane, and that kind of was an indication of how diverse the soils are, what you can't see but down below. Is there any truth to that, or am I making it up?
You're talking to people different than I'm talking to.
Okay. I appreciate that. Do you grow grapes other than Cabernet?
Yes, we grow Cabernet, Merlot, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah,
all of that.
And importantly, we grow different clones of all of those things as well. And that's how you diversify within the clone.
If y'all have any questions who are following along here, let us know. So how has the coronavirus quarantine affected you guys out there?
Well, it's affected everybody. It's taken a lot of the fun out of doing whatever you're doing, because when people are dying, it's not as much fun. But, we are an essential business, so we're working every day as farmers. And so we're working every day, but it's affecting the market. It's affecting how people think about things. We're just people and humans just like everybody else. But we're going ahead with our farming.
And is it that people who are indoors are spread out and people outdoors are already spread out? So it allows you to keep going, or how does that work?
I think somebody has determined that it's an essential business. In other words, if we don't do what we do today, it goes away, we won't have a harvest. So we can't go back and get it, a month from now if it needs to be done. And the farming is considered an essential thing. But some of us, we have staff that has to work inside as well, and we sort of we stay separate, and we vary the times when people work.
There's a couple questions. What do you prefer to drink, and how many wineries do you work with that buy your grapes?
Well, I prefer to drink wine, and it depends on the day, what variety, and what age it is. But I certainly would favor Cabernet Sauvignon because that's what we do more than anything else. And we sell grapes to over 100, maybe almost 150 wineries, both here and in the Red Hills of Lake County and in Mendocino County.
And if you have Cabernet every night, what is your favorite food to have with Cabernet?
Anything that's red.
I love it. Okay.
Put red sauce on fish, I can have Cabernet.
Say that again?
If you put a red sauce on a fish, I can have Cabernet.
I'm with you on that.
I probably wouldn't, but anyway.
You're a pretty generous man. Can you tell us about you gave $100,000 to charities in kind of a unique way to help people out, which is really, really impressive. And being a restaurant person who lost my job, it's really touching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we put up $100,000 and we put it in the areas where we farm. And because we wanted those people to know that we cared. They see the vineyards out there and they wonder if the farmers really care. And so we want to do that. Plus, we also wanted to motivate other people in the private sector to donate. And they're doing that in little ways and big ways. But a big deal of that is that we can have the money, but we can get it out. And the secret to that is the chambers of commerce who have helped us. Calistoga and St. Helena and in Lake and in Mendocino County. And they have gone to their members who then go to their employees in the hospitality business. We're trying to get this to the bus boys and to the waiters and to the dishwashers and to the people who clean rooms. And the chamber members hire those people. And so that the chambers have been getting the names to us. And this could not happen without the help of the chambers of commerce. For example, I just got a list this morning from the Calistoga Chamber of Commerce, and they've gotten people from all different walks of life in the Calistoga area. Not wineries. The wineries seem to be taking care of their own, but this is from the restaurants and the little bars and places like that, the dining rooms, the little inns. So it's working very well, but it's a combination of things that we gave the money, and the chambers of commerce are helping us get it out. And it wouldn't work if it couldn't happen without their help.
That's a really amazing organization because you don't think about that as what they normally do, but this way the money's going so much further and it's going so direct. I think it's brilliant the way you're handling that.
Well, it's going, and there's no administrative cost. A lot of these things, when you see a charity, that 10 to 20% of it go to administration. We've got no administrative costs. The Chamber of Commerce people are working for nothing.
Yeah.
Bless their hearts.
Bless them. They are working hard, but they're doing the right thing. That's just amazing. It's very, very touching. Speaking of the Chambers of Commerce, Betsy asked, can you talk about the other heritage vineyards in Napa Valley? Well,
we have 6 heritage vineyards, and they are all, and they're heritage because they were planted in the 19th century. And Tokelon and Missouri Hopper in the Oakville appellation. Vineyard George III is in the Rutherford appellation. And our Bourne Vineyard, our Dr. Crane Vineyard, and our Los Piedras Vineyards are all in the St. Helena appellation. But the oldest one was planted in 1858, which is this one here. And then I think 1877 was Los Piedras, and the other ones fall in between. But they're small and big then. And
at what point do you start? Is it an individual vine case of when you start pulling them out and planting new, or how does that? I mean, how long do they go?
Well, that depends on a lot of things, and we're changing that now. We used to be that we pulled out whole blocks when we planted it, but now we're going back in and just roguing out the diseased vineyards, and in that way, hopefully not replanting, pulling out good vineyards. So that in the past, most vineyards here were pulled out when they were 25 years old. we hope with this process that we can begin to deliver grapes from 25, 30, 40-year-old vines. And that root system that develops after 25 years is extremely important. So we want to see if we can take advantage of that.
And then, so what does that mean in those heritage vineyards? What's the average age of the vine?
Well, that depends on the vineyard and the block.
Okay.
They have blocks in different vineyards, but some of them are 1 year old and some of them are 20 years old.
I see. Okay.
Most of them not much over 20, but hopefully they will be now.
Can you talk about anything that's different now for you as a farmer with climate change, that things are getting warmer? How is that affecting you?
Well, the big thing about, whoa, I dropped the camera.
Oh, glad it wasn't you.
The major effect of climate change now is the erratic way the seasons go. We've had hailstorms on May 30th and followed by 100-degree weather 10 days later than that. So that's really the things that's affecting us. And otherwise, it's a seasonal thing. Some seasons are hot and some seasons are cold. Now, as a human being, I'm concerned about climate change all over the world. But in terms of production agriculture, we're looking at it from a year-to-year basis. But we're also, we're aware of that. And in the past, we've had lots of problems here, from phylloxera, you name it. And we've always solved the problem with technology, better technology, sort of the American way. And we're doing that again. And we've started this really large research project with the University of California, Davis, planting Cabernet and planting 10 different clones and 10 different rootstocks and all the permutations and combinations that go with it. And we're trying to address climate change and how that might affect that, drought conditions and other things. But also, we're trying to see if we can produce a better quality product. If we can get a combination of rootstocks and varietal clones, that will give us a better product. So it's addressed to climate change in a big way, but it's also addressed to try to improve the quality of our fruit.
Wine XYZ just asked a really interesting question. Do you traditionally see a slowdown on the high end? He wrote hobby brands after an economic turndown. What do you expect from a business standpoint after this? I mean, in my experience, comparing it to the recession in 2008, but what do you expect Napa to go through after this, the business part of the quarantine?
Jeff, people with strong brands and good management will be okay. It's not going to be a lot of fun, and there could be some downturn, but we get through that, and people have gotten through that before. But if you have a weak brand or a brand new brand that's not established, or if you're not well managed, you may have a big problem, and you're going to have that whether you're in the restaurant business or whatever you're in. But here, what we're finding is that the people with the strong brands, the people we sell Vineyard designate wines to, are doing just fine. And the demand for those grapes has continued, and there's been no let up on that.
That's really fascinating. Do you, I want to kind of keep it short. I don't want to take too much of your time, but do you have any advice for people getting through the craziness that we're in? You seem very calm.
Well, you need to keep your powder dry. And manage the business, and understand where your strengths are.
Yeah.
You've got a strong brand, keep up the quality. There's a lot of opportunity in situations like this, not opportunity, but people, for example, in the vineyard business, the prices go down, they increase their yields and reduce their quality. And that's a stupid thing to do. I mean, that's poor management, and you are hurting your brand. So that I think just, keep doing what you're doing, and strengthen your brand and watch your management, and more attention to detail, more communication with everybody. But it's their management problems, and the people with good brands and good management, they might hurt a little bit. They're going to hurt a little bit. But they'll be fine.
Now, the great business, you had to think long term, and someone just asked. Her name is Kathy. The 50-year plan. What are you planning for the next 50 years? Because you're looking ahead clearly as a businessman. I'm
not old, but I'm going to be dead in 50 years. But Napa Valley Cabernet will be here and be strong, as well as the vineyards that we own will be here because they're in trust and they can never be sold and developed. Napa Valley Cabernet will be here, and it'll taste much like it does today, and it'll be strong. The people out here, the winemakers, the people have great passion for what they do, and they have the ability to keep going. So I think you can plan on your grandchildren's grandchildren be drinking Napa Valley Cabernet, very good Napa Valley Cabernet, in 50 years.
That's really nice to hear some optimism like that. I appreciate that. Do you have anything else you want to say before we end this?
No, thanks, Jeff. I hope. How you doing in New York?
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to come to Connecticut, and you hear a lot of stories that New York is apocalyptic and all, and it's bad in the hospitals, and I think they're peaking, but it's the sirens. Just ambulances, sirens are just constant in the city, and if you walk past the hospitals, it's really touch and go. But all my friends are holding up, and everybody's doing pretty good. So it's kind of you to ask.
Be safe and take care.
Thank you so much for your time and for showing us your vineyard. This was really eye-opening and a good time chatting with you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.